everyone, I'm Mind, and this is set number 70500, Kai's Fire Mech from the 2013 LEGO Ninjago wave. This set contains 102 pieces, 2 minifigures, and originally retailed for $9.99 in the US. This video is of course a part of my Ninjago throwback review series, so let me know in the comments which set you want to see a throwback review on next. It could be any set from 2011 to 2018, and while I don't have them all, I do have a lot of them, so let me know in the comments which set you want to see a throwback review on the most, and it may be selected for the next LEGO Ninjago throwback review. If you want to see which reviews I've already done, I'll have a full playlist in the description. And now, with all that being said, let's get into the review. So here's the main build of the set, Kai's Fire Mech, and mechs are a thing that we get a lot now in Ninjago. In fact, we just got an entire wave of mechs. But back in 2013, I believe this was only the third Ninjago mech ever. The second good guy mech and the very first ninja mech. The previous ones being the Serpentine mech and the Samurai X mech. So even though things like this are very commonplace nowadays, at the time this was very exciting. But being one of the first Ninjago mechs, how well does it actually hold up? Well, alright, I guess. This design definitely feels dated, and I mean it is. It's 11 years old. So obviously design principles, parts, and stuff are going to change over time. And there's things I like about this set, things I don't like so much. But it's always interesting to look back at this with a modern lens and just see how things have evolved. One of the biggest things, this is a small mech, and pretty much all small mechs nowadays are going to use mini ball joints, the ones introduced with LEGO Mixels in 2015. Or was it 2014? Regardless, this came out in 2013, before LEGO Mixels was a thing, so yeah, they were stuck with these large ball joints for a small mech, and that definitely limited the options visually. I will say though, the design of these feet are good. They're not too far off from like modern LEGO mechs. A lot of these same pieces are still used today, and I do genuinely think they look nice. But then coming to the legs, this is where of course we see a big difference. This uses a CCBS part, which if you're not familiar is Character and Creature Building System, I believe, and it was the building system used for Hero Factory and then the Bionicle reboot. But occasionally it was used in system sets as well, and this is an example of that. And I think it works fine here. It does create a weird juxtaposition with like the very blocky bricks of the torso compared to like the rounded shapes on the legs. But I honestly don't think it's the worst thing in the world, especially because it is like such small parts being used. The armor piece on top of it looks nice, and I do like these gold blades coming off. It helps the build feel a little more unique. And there you can see how the part looks in the back. And then we come to the torso of this mech, and this is honestly my biggest critique, is it's just kinda ugly. And yes, I know it's an old set, it's not gonna live up to modern design standards, but I don't really know what's going on here. We got a random brown piece, the texturing on the bottom sort of all over the place. But then as we move up, this is like completely covered in studs, including back here behind these gold pieces. And the shape there just feels very, like, inorganic. I don't know, something feels wrong about that to me. So I am really not the biggest fan of that. I am more forgiving because this is an older set, but I can't pretend that part looks super good. It's definitely the weirdest part of this set. Now, I do like what they did in the shoulders here. They use these big bulky pieces to put stickers on them with flames going up. Does a great job to represent like Fire Mech. Then there's these little swords up here which can be moved around, and I mean, they look fine. They're a little bit weird, I think, because they're just sort of jutting out the top. I'm not sure exactly what they were going for here, but it's fine, I guess. And then the arms of this mech are pretty much more the same as the legs. Literally the exact same arm pieces, same exact blades coming off, and they use the same exact CCBS piece. Now, the hands of the mech are actually a little bit more interesting. On the one side, we have 3 fingers and a thumb, so that way the mech can actually hold on to things. And there's 2 sticker pieces on the hand. On one side, it's just got Kai's symbol in the circle, and on the other side, there's a lot going on here, actually. I guess this is maybe all the functions it can do, or maybe a bunch of warnings? I don't know, you got a bomb, you got fire, fire extinguisher, water, ice. I guess you gotta call the phone on its hand, or maybe that's controlling the blast on the other side, which we'll take a look at in a moment. I'm not sure, but it's a really wacky sticker. I kinda love it, though. Very indicative of, like, earlier LEGO. But yeah, there's a hand here to hold on to stuff, but no, like, actual clip or anything inside. And I think that's a really good example of how design philosophies have changed in LEGO. Because this set comes with Kai's elemental blade, and there's an extra extension to allow the mech to hold on to it. But yeah, you just sort of rest that in there and wrap the fingers around it, and that's it. That's how you hold on to this piece. Which is definitely very awkward to do, because there's not like one correct orientation. Which that could definitely leave the mech looking a little awkward on display, and also a little bit for play, because it's very easy to accidentally knock that out of the hand. So I think that's probably why you don't see this too much in modern mechs. Nowadays they have a clip in the center of the hand most of the time to properly hold on to something. But it is neat to see how that changed. And then as I mentioned, on the other hand we have like a fire blaster. The same exact sticker piece with Kai's symbol right here, but then we have like these 4 cones as well as this one right here, maybe to be like a sight. And you can just imagine that like blasting firepower out. That also connects onto the arm on a ball joint. Now if you want to see how Kai actually looks in the vehicle, you attach the back of his legs to these studs right here, and then can move these handlebars up into his hands. And here's how it looks to have Kai actually in the mech. I will say that torso area definitely looks better with those studs being covered up by Kai himself. I still don't like this part at the top, and that's honestly my biggest critique with the looks of this, but the mech certainly feels a lot more complete with the minifigure actually in there. There's a look at the mech from the back, by the way. There is a stickered piece here of like a vent, and this is a bit goofy looking, but I think it's fine. It's honestly not too far off from what like the Evo mechs look like around the back. But yeah, with Kai actually in there, this looks a lot better. So all around, I think it's a fine build. It was only $10 and it was 2013, so I can't be too critical. I will say I didn't buy this set at the time. This is one I purchased on the aftermarket, so it didn't capture me enough as a kid to buy it, but looking back, it's fairly solid for the time. And it is one of the very first Ninjago mechs, so it paved the way for a lot to come. But of course, that's not everything in this set, so now let's take a look at the minifigures, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts. So here are the two minifigures in this set. We have Kimono Kai, and we have a Stone Army Scout. Kai's of course holding the Fire Elemental Blade, which we already saw on his mech, but of course, yeah, as I said, you can remove it and put it into his hand. And I think that's a fine build. It integrates with the mech well, and for 2013 it looks alright. Though if you want to recreate this in modern days, you should definitely give him the newer Dragon Hilt piece, because that would be more accurate to the show. Regardless, though, accessory aside, the actual minifigure I do like. This is the first ninja suit to ever use a black as well as the ninja's main color. And while I don't think it's the one that does it best, I do think it definitely stands out. Now, something interesting here is Kai does not include his armor piece, and in fact, none of the Kimono Ninja included their armor pieces in the sets, even though they had them in the show. And I do think the armor pieces help these suits a lot, because without them, especially the gold like on the hood feels very out of place. Because there is like little tidbits of gold in the torso, and I think with the shoulder pads there, it all ties together really nicely. But without it, it does feel like something's missing. So if you customize this guy by adding one extra part, it does help a lot, but in his base form, it does feel like a little bit's missing. I do like the back torso print though. You have Kai's original symbol in the circle right there, in fact, just like the stickers in this set, and those golden buckles from the front continue around the back. I do appreciate the consistency between the torso and the legs. They do go together really nicely. And Kai's also got the symbol at the top of his robes, which later goes on to be used on a few other suits, so it's cool to see that introduced for the first time here. Face print underneath the hood is just the original Kai face. He didn't change this for a very long time, but when I was a kid I always thought it was fine. Compared to modern faces, it's not very good, but hey, I mean the scar is cool even if it isn't show accurate, and of course back then the ninja did not get alternate faces. And then the Stone Army Scout's fine. He's one of the generic stone warriors and he's one of the more common ones too, but I always thought they had a fun design. I do really like the red samurai armor on the printing. That looks really nice, and the Overlord symbol in like green in the center looks super cool too. I think it's neat to get the straw hat in red. That's a good part to have, and getting the quiver in red around the back's an appreciated touch too. This specific stone warrior does have yellow face painting, and there's a look at the torso print around the back. It's somewhat like generic samurai armor. So honestly, fairly solid minifigure, especially for 2013. He's far from the coolest stone warrior. Like, there's definitely better ones, but this is definitely a good addition to that army, and I think especially like that silver printing, it makes the armor look nice. I think for just generic villains, these guys are good, and of course very nostalgic in the year 2024. And so, overall, would I recommend this set? I don't think you need this one, but if you're a fan of mechs or a fan of Kai, or you just want to get back into old Ninjago, I think this is a good one to pick up. It's fairly cheap on the aftermarket, that's part of why I bought it. It wasn't too difficult to get, and it is one I'm very happy to finally have in my collection. Obviously, if you just want the best mech, there's better mechs out there right now. Time has passed, builds have gotten better, so I won't pretend this is anywhere near like the 2024 Kai mech, but it's not the 2024 Kai mech, it's the 2013 Kai mech, and it was only $10, and I think it's fairly solid for what it wants to be. Solid minifigure selection, cute little build. I'm all around pretty happy with it. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to my channel if you're new. And as I mentioned at the beginning, let me know which Ninjago set you want to see a throwback review on next. But as for this video, I think that's about all I have to say, so thanks for watching everybody, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!